Hello and welcome to episode 20 of An Earful Podcast. Our guest this week is producer Bob Cooper. We had the privilege of being invited up. We got to see his amazing studio space up in Leeds.
Bob in the past has worked with bands such as Waster, Cutting Teeth. We talked to him about his motivations, what influences him, and also an idea for a sitcom he has.
Which you're better off listening to.
Because,
we don't want to spoil it for you. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Good. Don't forget to check out our socials. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and don't forget to check out the actual podcast on Spotify, Anchor, and other podcasting platforms.
Otherwise than that, enjoy the episode.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Bob.
Hiya. Yeah,
Hello.
no problem.
Quick
for
and
having
easy,
me.
yeah. No, thank you for doing it. We appreciate it.
So first of all, how's your day going?
Well, yeah.
It's been good. I'm mixing all this week, so I've been working on mixes for an album for a guy called Luke Rainsford and an EP for a band called Big Thing. And I've just about finished it. I've got to export like one song when we're done with this. But yeah, it's been a really good week. It's been really fun because I've been tracking loads over the past month and a half. So it's nice to just like have some time to kind of finish off and like realize all the creative stuff that we've been doing and like be able to listen back to it properly as well.
Bringing it to a nice conclusion for yourself.
Yeah.
How do you split up that time of putting a week aside for mixing?
So this actually is just the way it worked out on my schedule. Whenever I book in a band, I'll schedule the time for mixing anyway, and it just happened that I was doing the second half of an album and the mixes for an EP at the same time. So
Right.
yeah, it all just kind of worked out like that.
It's always nice when that happens, though.
Yeah, it's cool. Like a little bit of time to myself, and I can be a little bit more relaxed on like when I come in and when I leave.
Is it a mixture of genres that you've been doing, or is it?
They're both. So Luke's kind of emo-y, pop punk, a bit indie on this record, and then Big Thing are kind of more indie with like a math rock twinge. So there's a bit of crossover, but it's different enough to be kind of cool to flip from one to another.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sometimes I like to do that when I'm mixing. If I'm mixing, I remember once I was doing 3 projects. I was doing like a metal record, an indie pop thing, and probably a punk record. And I'd like split my day into like doing one bit of one record, then another bit of another. And it made me really competitive with myself because I was like, well, I've made this bit really good now, so I need to go back to this other song that I've just been mixing and make that as good as that one. And it probably took way longer because I was like, no, I can do better because I've done this thing better. But it was worth it because it sounded really good in the end.
I think that's... Go on. No, sorry, go on.
Ooh, who's more polite?
So it kind of gives yourself a fresh perspective.
Absolutely.
On what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I remember because I did audio at uni. I think we all did, but when you were mixing, it was important not to mix too much because you could start doing destructive things.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
having multiple things on the go, I suppose, helps you because usually I was told leave your mixing for a day, come back to it with fresh ears, and be a bit more critical. But
ideally,
yourself.
Yeah. The way I do it as well is I schedule. I do everything on a timer. I read a book called Peak Performance, and it talked about how kind of top performers in whatever their industry, in any industry, they will work for a block of 50 to 90 minutes, and then they'll take a break of 7 to 20 minutes. So I just started putting a timer on, and I typically mix for about 60-ish minutes, maybe slightly less, and then I'll have like a 10-minute break. And that break is so valuable for giving me a fresh perspective and coming back. And also, like, your ears, sometimes it can be really annoying, especially like I was a little bit ill like a month or so ago, and I was trying to mix something, and my ears kept adjusting really fast to what I was hearing. So when that happens, you kind of sometimes stop hearing the details as much, and it's kind of like you're hearing the whole song instead of the parts, which is a good perspective in some instances, but not in what I was trying to do at the time. But you can get over that by taking a step away and getting your ears used to hearing something else. I normally put on like an audiobook or something for 10 minutes and then come back to it. And yeah, it really, really works. The same thing with taking weekends off as much as I can is like steroids for productivity. Like that whole taking time away from the thing to get better at the thing.
Yeah, because it seems counterproductive, doesn't it? It's,
yes.
You're doing the opposite. I was interested to find out if you did listen on that break to anything.
Yeah, well...
Because I would have thought I'd just shut off and...
I used to not. In that book, actually, it talked about what I did in my old studio, because there was kind of a nice walk I could do, just like around a block. That's like, I saw some trees and stuff like that, and seeing nature's really good for productivity in general. Yeah. So I do that, and I wouldn't really listen to anything. The podcast or book I just put on because I feel like that's, say, in an 8-hour day, that's probably like 70 minutes of breaks that I could be spending on something useful and like productive and learning something. So it just feels like it'd be dead time if I just waited around and didn't do anything. So it means that I get pretty well through my audiobooks as well.
I suppose audiobooks and podcasts are a different kind of listening, whereas
absolutely
when you start mixing, it's active listening, really, isn't it? Whereas this is passive, and
definitely
you can switch off in a sense, but still listen.
And I'm also normally, like, my phone's in my pocket, and I'm just listening from my phone speaker, so I'm not listening to anything that is... I find that if I listen to something louder or that has more low end, or if I was listening on headphones and then went back to mixing on speakers, that would fuck with me. Because whenever I try and... If I'm mixing and I put headphones on to reference, it takes me like 10 minutes to get back to getting used to what a speaker is supposed to sound like, because it's so close and super weird hearing like that.
Never really thought of that, but you've got to mix for the fact that someone can play it from your phone or headphones directly in the ears or speakers.
Yeah.
How do you approach doing that?
So I think having a very good room, like the room that we're in is really well treated. It's very acoustically flat. And a good pair of speakers, I understand, in that acoustically flat room. Generally, if I can make it sound good on that, it will translate to a lot of other things. But I'm neurotic, so I still listen on like every set of headphones, every set of speakers, anything that I physically can. Yeah, and I'll compare. I get really bad for this. If I'm at home and I'm listening to like just any record on headphones, I'll listen to it for about 30 seconds, then I'm like, I wonder if one of my mixes is as good as this. And then I'll spend like an hour flipping between one of my mixes and that song. And it's like, there's no fun in it, but I generally learn a little bit from it, but it's just self-torture, I think.
It is good to do that though, because you're altering your approach.
Yeah, and it's teaching me what I can do better and how I can improve.
I like that. Do you regularly do that? But because it is self-torture.
Far too regularly. Yeah. Like, way too often.
Do you find it more productive than... would it ever be demotivating to then referencing it to obviously tracks that you're already familiar with and stuff like that? Do you only see the positive side of it, or is it sometimes you're like, I really shouldn't be doing this?
Oh, all the time I'm like, I should not be doing this. And especially if I'm comparing something from like a slightly different genre where like the production aesthetic is a different thing anyway. Last night I listened to that new Bring Me the Horizon song, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I posted it on my profile, and loads of people were like, this is fucking shit. Why are you listening to this? Which is mental. It sounds so good. They wrote it and produced it in 5 days.
Jesus.
They had a deadline for the video game that they had. Sorry to go on a tangent.
Is that
they had
Death Stranding. Sorry to
interrupt you. Yeah. Right. And they had to have it like given to the company on like 1 p.m. on the Saturday, I think, and they found out on the Monday, and they didn't even have a song.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And that song sounds incredible.
It's just like a mixture of genres, though, like in one song, isn't it? Like it's got a bit of old Bring Me In towards the end, which you just don't expect.
Yeah. The first time I heard it, I had no fucking clue what it was. I was like, trying to listen to it, I was like, I don't understand. There's no structure or that I can tell. There was nothing that seemed cohesive, and then I listened to it a second time and I was singing along. So good. But I compared that to the Big Thing record, the indie rock record, and I was like, it's not even the same fucking like world. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it did teach me that I needed to give my mix a little bit more high end and cut out some of the mids from my bass. So I still learned something from it, but it's probably not. I don't know.
Even though it's like completely separate genres, it's still.
And like, if you think about how music comes on Spotify now, if you listen to a fairly eclectic collection of music, and if you on your Discovered or the Release Radar or any playlist, if it comes up next to that on the playlist, you want it to be competitive and you want it to sound as good. I want it to sound better than the thing that's come before and the thing that comes after. So it is useful to have that reference on something that maybe in a completely different world, just to make sure it competes with it.
I did want to talk to you about this, but the loudness wars, does that ever become an issue for yourself where it's
fucking love it, make it loud. It sounds
really
sick. Yeah, I've always been trying to make my records louder.
Yeah.
Because like all the sick records sound really fucking loud, and then there's this thing that I do, this online community lesson thing called Nail the Mix, which is amazing, and like every month they have like a big dog mixer mixing like a huge song. They've had like Bring Me the Horizon. They've had who else have they had? I'm blanking right now.
We'll put you on the spot. That's why.
They had Suicide Silence this month. They've had Papa Roach. They've had like loads of Fall Out Boy have been on it. Like loads of huge, Story So Far, and the Story So Far one, and another one with Lamb of God. All right, so both of the guys there. So Sam Piero, who mixed the Story So Far, and Machine, who did Lamb of God. Machine was like, loudness is the best EQ, because like the louder something is, the better it sounds. Just I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, it does. And Sam Piero was just like, I always grew up listening to fucking loud records. I want to make loud records, and they're like two producers I really love. So I was like, well, if they say it's all right, and then I'm just gonna fucking keep making loud records. I like it.
I remember hearing like secret tips, like increase your chorus by a decibel on the mix, and then put it in a separate bus, and
Yep, I always do the 1 dB up trick for the chorus is so good. And what you can do is from the start of the verse, you have it slightly decreasing the volume, so you've got that 1 dB to go up rather than having because sometimes if you drop the verse by 1 dB, it can sound a little bit weird depending on the arrangement of the song.
When we spoke to Rome, when they were on about their experience with Machine, with the Smile Wide album.
I didn't realise they'd done it with him.
And they were like, it was the best experience we've ever done, ever. Never want to do anything else but that.
Oh man, he seems like he's mad in the best possible way.
Yeah.
My friend Lexi, with his, he plays in I Told You I'd Eat You Now, and he was in the band Johnny Foreigner, and they did a record with him, and they were saying how they were like all, like, I think they were recording live, and Machine had like a megaphone, I was just shouting orders at him. Fucking sick. I'd love to do shit like that.
I love that sort of like stories about being aggressive in the studio.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Russ Robinson.
Yeah, oh my God,
I remember hearing him like throw vases at members of Slipknot and stuff like that. And
he made Jonathan Davis sing the song about cheating on his wife in front of his wife.
Oh my God.
And then there was one about him being abused as a kid, and he was like, I need you to relive that, which is like, I couldn't push someone to do that.
Oh yeah, no, because he's actually crying on the track, isn't he? When he's singing, yeah.
And it's like, it's amazing that you can bring out that pure emotion out of someone. I don't know if I don't know if I could physically do
Have
that
the
to
heart
someone.
To do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
But you create brilliant art. So it's tricky, that.
Because I suppose you'd hate them in the moment, and months down the line while you're touring that album, and realise how good it's
how well it's connected with
getting,
people. Yeah.
Then
I think I'd probably just come at it from an angle of kindness. I think than the angle of. I'm not saying that he's not being kind, but I feel like it's more in my nature to try and do something in a nice way.
Yeah. I always thought stuff like that in the studio was cool, because I remember reading the Corey Taylor book. Do you know the one about ghosts and that?
Oh yeah.
Funny thing
And they're going
about
when they were recording with Rick Rubin for Volume 3.
Oh yeah.
And that sort of like emotional involvement in the music like brings it out a lot more. In the studio, and they was going about how it's haunted, and like loads of different stuff was happening while they were there.
Sick.
What was the one though where they was recording? There was like this thing.
Oh, there's two things, weren't there? There was the one where there was this music box that like Corey Taylor and I think it was Sid Wilson could hear or something like
Fuck.
that, and it was driving them insane.
It's
And
in a
eventually,
massive mansion, isn't it?
yeah, they found like they got to this wardrobe and it was like, right, that's where it's on. And they opened it and this music box is there, but it just stops as soon as they open
Oh
it.
my god, fuck.
And apparently, like before it, Maroon 5 was recording something, and they did one night, and they were like, "Nope, we're staying in the hotel for the rest of the experience." Whereas,
my God.
where part of the of Slipknot stayed in the mansion for it.
And that makes sense for that band as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
To
totally.
do something so and that album sounded so fucking good as well.
Yeah.
There's
because-
another one
Yeah.
in that book where there's interference with an amp or something,
yeah.
and they recorded it, and
It's for Vermilion, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
that intro sound
No
is that
way.
interference.
That's sick.
That's a great book,
And they
I wanna listen to
they didn't know where it came from. Like they couldn't get rid of
Yeah.
it, could they?
and
And
you know, it's
ended up on the
really-
record.
That's
but,
awesome.
Yeah,
That was the other one when Corey was in the shower and he looked out and there was this old man in a suit,
Fuck.
and then he's opened like the shower to go like, "Well, what the hell was that?" And there was nothing there.
Ah, fuck. I wonder what this place is.
It's the Houdini Mansion
Houdini
in
Mansion,
in
Sunset
LA. So
Boulevard.
if you ever go down there to
I
like
want-
produce, then yeah, make sure you
love
get
that.
yourself in there.
There's a story about the Gallagher brothers, and that I think Liam tricked Noel into thinking he was haunted. Like, I don't know if it was in a flat they lived in or if they were in a recording or something, but he'd always just go around and move his just Noel's or Liam's, one of them's stuff a little bit, and like for years he'd do it. It's brilliant.
Do you believe in that kind of stuff?
Nah, I don't believe in shit. Nah.
Nothing whatsoever.
Nah, can't. It just doesn't. It's like, you know, those things where a thing just doesn't make sense in your
Yeah.
brain. It's just the
Yeah.
connection doesn't happen. It'd be fucking cool.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
love it.
It's
to.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Like same with like going to heaven and stuff. That'd be ace. Just doesn't make sense to me in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right there. What about aliens?
Oh fuck yeah, aliens
Okay,
could definitely.
great, yeah.
The universe is huge. Aliens, 100% yes. God no. Let's.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. All my mates are really into star signs at the moment. I don't believe any of that. It doesn't make sense.
No,
I don't get it.
Nah, I've never got behind that.
Just
I don't
ask Tom
think.
DeLonge.
Yeah, just ask Tom. Tom apparently has all the answers to everything.
He was going to space at one point, was it?
Is he going to space? I know he's
Yeah.
like.
He said he's gonna have like a space
spaceship.
cadet.
Yeah.
Hasn't his company been like? It's like the US government are now involved in this company
Yeah.
in some way
Yeah.
or something. That's fucking rad.
So bizarre.
The
But
guy
he's-
that wrote "fuck a dog in the ass."
But it's like,
What do you think inspired him to write that song? though? That's the question.
He just wanted to do it in space,
yeah,
where it's legal.
there's no laws up there. But it was like when he did the launch video for that space cadet thing or whatever it was that he was launching, and it was the most ambiguous like talk with Tom DeLonge ever. Like he wasn't like defining what he was doing. It was like, do you remember Tom Cruise went on about Scientology?
Oh
Like,
god, yeah.
and there was just no specifics. It was just saying random shit. I was like, what's he on about? It was just that, but Tom DeLonge.
Oh my God.
Tom. Rejoin Blink.
He will do.
And then support
Do the right thing.
He will
Mike M
do.
on the tour.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a great co-headline tour.
Yeah, and
Mike
don't
M
do any of
Blink.
the past like 3 Blink albums as well. It's like,
You're not a fan?
just that new one. What's the?
Is it Up All Night or something like that?
No, that's years ago.
Is that the
man.
Neighborhood
This is
album
a-
or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was Neighborhood.
I've suppressed the last.
Whatever
few
the
albums.
See, I
newest
didn't
single.
really listen to anything
Just really
past the
don't
Neighborhood.
like something or something
It's-
like that.
Yeah, and it's just like very forgettable.
Yeah.
It's like it's reasonably it's catchy, but it's like this is just pop music in like a very fine way. It's definitely
Yeah.
a song.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's not take off your dancing jacket sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like it's not. I don't know if that music is anywhere near connecting with people as the music they were making like 15 years ago was. Obviously, because they're not the same people who are connecting with the kind of people that resonate with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the same thing with like for example, when Linkin Park used to get all the shit for release another album like Hybrid Theory. They could well make another album like Hybrid Theory, but that one doesn't relate to them as people now. And
Yeah.
two, who's to say it would actually do well because it's from a sound that was from years ago.
Yeah.
That's not defining.
Well, yeah,
what
that song
we're right now.
hit at the right time for the culture, didn't
Yeah.
it? And it's like, Although that said, I keep bringing Bring Me the Horizon, but they did that song that sounds like Faint. Throne.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, that song's fucking sick. It's well good.
Yeah.
So maybe if Linkin Park had done it could have gone well.
Do you think it's important for bands to keep changing the sound for every album, or at least
I feel like they should always.
experiment in a way?
I feel like it's important that people stretch what is whatever their thing is. They should try and push it to
as far
as it can go. But I'm trying to think if are there any bands that I like that have done the same kind of album. Probably not. No. Yeah, I think you should always try and push. Like if I think about Slayer, they've done the same. Like every Slayer album, more or less the same, right? And Rain in Blood was really good, but maybe just. But what else can you do within quite a tightly defined genre? I feel like Slayer would lose all their fans if they did something too far away.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with like Alter Bridge. If you've ever listened to their stuff, they had a great run of it being, in my opinion, the first 3 to 4 albums.
Yeah.
But then when they stuck with the same producer throughout from that, it was then every album kind of had the same format and was too familiar to the previous ones.
Do you think it's like when people hit middle management in a job and then that's it for the rest of their lives and they just coast and they're just like they've hit a point where they're comfortable in their, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, but you hit a point where you're comfortable in what you've achieved and everything's fine, and it's to you it seems like it's maybe also almost a threat to do something too different, because then you might lose all the thing that you've built up. And like, I guess like they're at the age that they're at as well.
Yeah,
like
totally.
4 albums in, they must have been 30-ish, I guess.
Well, how old's Miles Kennedy now?
In his 40s.
Mid-40s now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so mid-30s, just dead the time. Start having kids. You don't really want to fuck anything up. It kind of makes sense that you just keep making.
It's kind of like with Foo Fighters, isn't it? Like, you know what a Foo Fighters sound is. Like, they're not going to bring out some EDM mash rock thing anytime soon, because that's what works for them. That's what their crowd works. They can write songs around that basis that are still catchy. They see that as a win.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that one album that they made in the garage was fucking sick.
Yeah, I really
Wasting
like that
Light
one.
was really good.
That was Wasting Light, wasn't it?
Light,
Wasting Light. For some reason, I was thinking of Sonic Highways, which I thought was a bit.
That was good. Did you watch the Sound City documentary as well?
I watched the first half of it. I watched the first half of it like 5 years ago, and I keep being like, need to finish that documentary. I haven't seen the full thing, so I can't comment on it properly. It did feel a bit like he's trying to say that computers are ruin music or something, which is
it was going on about like analog was a lot more like better than digital in a way, and it was because they brought the Neve console in from Sound Studio.
He bought it, didn't he?
Yeah.
God, I bet that console's fucking sick. I bet that console costs a fuck ton to run. I bet the electricity for it's super expensive.
Yeah.
I bet it's a pain to because consoles you have to do a lot of maintenance on them. But it's a fucking nightmare for maintenance as well. But I bet it's so sick. So sounds and it's like, who gives a fuck? Like no one's listening to music and being like, man, if this was analog, it was so much cooler. It doesn't matter. No one cares.
No.
And if the people that do care don't know what an analog record sounds like, and they're fucking losers. Get on it. Go outside.
It's like the Kemper thing.
Yeah.
And valve amps.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing with Andertons where they did the test of playing on a Kemper and playing on a valve amp and them not knowing the difference. And then when it came to, which one's the real one? They went, that one. They went, well, that's the Kemper. They're like, oh.
That's amazing. Yeah, the Kemper's fucking sick. The only limitations, I've got one. It's amazing for capturing distorted guitar tones. Difficult with pedals. And I found that I had to work I got it to work. I ended up making a couple of packs out of it, but I found it took a lot more work to get the Kemper to capture a tone using a guitar pedal, like a distortion pedal, into a clean amp than just into the distorted tone. But I don't know why. So you'd think it'd just work, but it's fucking sick. I need to use it more. I use it as a really expensive tuner.
Oh right.
Really accurate. It's it's 1 cent accurate, which is way more accurate than the Boss one. So I use that when I'm setting up guitars and doing intonation and stuff before we start tracking. And but then I've got all my amps and everything's kind of always set up, so I can generally plug into an amp really quickly, probably as quickly as it takes me to turn on a Kemper, because it takes like a minute to turn on that thing. The other limitation about it, because it is, again, it's fucking amazing, but I can't dial a tone into a mix with a Kemper like I can with an amp.
Right.
I generally I'll have the guitarist play a loop part for ages. They fucking hate me. And then I'll be dialing each knob of the amp into the context of that mix, so against those drums and that bass, to make sure it fits properly. Whereas with the Kemper, I can't quite do that because it's a snapshot of that tone itself.
Yeah.
I think that's the limitation of it.
So on the Kemper, can you not? Because I'm not a guitarist, I don't know. Can you not tweak?
You can, but it's not the same. It works, but it's not the same.
Because you're taking a digital sound and
Yeah.
manipulating it. So there is a good and a bad to analog and digital, but
Yeah,
it's a tool, isn't it?
I think the Kemper, as well as a touring tool, is like the dream.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how fucking sick is it that you can take your tone you can do a full world tour with the exact same tone?
Yeah.
That must be so much easier.
Because when we supported Dream State, they all had Kempers.
Sick.
And it was like, it was us with our usual setup with like, I've got like an Orange AD30 and stuff like that.
I love the AD30.
But I always seem really limited on the terms of like distortion with it.
Yes.
But like when we was like, right, let's see how sound check was, and they did one of the new songs off the new album.
Yeah.
And it sounded fucking insane. Like it was like literally the album was being played in front of you, but
That's
it wasn't. It was
sick.
them with their tones. That they just had this rack of Kempers and stuff like that. I mean, I remember me, you, and Chris at that point were like, "Holy shit, we
all need to get Kempers."
Like Chris already had a Kemper at that point, and he still does in his other band. But like us two, like we're probably looking at pulling the trigger soon.
Yeah, it's just
Completely get rid of my pedal board and just have like my whammy, and then just get a Kemper.
It makes so much sense.
If you think
So
about
much
it,
easier.
Think about it for fans as well. They're loving a new album, get to go see their favourite band, and it sounds exactly the same tone as what they've just been listening to on the drive there.
I think also you can. There's a lot of good business within it. Like, say if you were that band, you could create and release a sample pack of your guitar tones.
Yeah.
I did notice on your website you sell some tones,
Mhm.
don't you? You have
Yeah,
a £1 deal, is that right?
Oh, so that's actually that's free.
Right,
but
okay.
the cheapest that the website would let me make it was £1.
Right.
So there's just a download link on that. People keep fucking buying it, and I have to send. I send them the money back, and I'm like, just click the link, get the free tones. Yeah, I don't know. And it's like the website that I used to host it is the cheapest one, so I guess that's the limitation on it.
Yeah.
So that's something you regularly update and...
It's something I definitely should regularly update.
Sorry to put you on the spot. with
Nah,
that.
I should. I just keep getting too busy. It's something I think last year, like summer, there was 1 month where I just had a bunch of projects cancel. So I had a bunch of free time last minute. So I just made a bunch of Kemper packs with that time.
Yeah.
And I haven't had any cancellations for a while. So next time I have a big project cancel, I'll do something.
Is it straightforward or is it?
It's reasonably straightforward. Yeah, it takes a little bit of finessing, and I've honestly forgotten how to do it, so I'd have to check again. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I think you plug the guitar into the Kemper, plug a cable out from the Kemper into the input of the amp, and then also one coming from you and out of your interface into the Kemper, something like that. And it does it like that because the way I do it is I want it to come out of the final part of my chain, because I'll probably, back then I would have done some EQing in Logic. Now I've got all the outboard here, so I typically do all my outboard EQ and stuff to make it perfect, and then go for all the shit in Logic and then come out into it, because I'd want it to sound completely finished from the start.
Going from talking about gear, it's not important about what gear you have to make a good record, is it?
I used to think that.
I think a lot of people do, don't they?
So I used to think, and like you can make a record with anything.
Yeah.
I love some records that sound like shit, but they emotionally resonate with me, and that's really the only thing that matters. And I always used to feel like it was cool that I had obviously no one listening to this can see, but I've got a bunch of outboard units to my left. There's just a bunch of preamps that's like all my preamps, and then there's a big like 12 bays of rack units in the studio as well. And I haven't used any of my shit since moving here, but I used to feel like all this outboard stuff is cool, but like I can do it all on the computer and it's easier doing it like that. It's not going to sound better. And I started using it, and it's crazy how much better I think it sounds. Like this past week, I was mixing. So with the Big Thing EP, I was mixing. I tracked the drums, bass, and some of the guitars, and then the guys tracked all the vocals, guitars, and acoustics and stuff back home. Just like they did acoustic guitar in the living room, and I wasn't getting the exact sound that I wanted, so I had to run it out through like 2 compressors. Like it's like a £5,000 compressor chain to get it back in to make it do the thing that I needed to do. So I have come to realize how important the gear is, and which is really bad because it means that like I'm buying more microphones now. I'm buying more, and like I've always had like the microphones are the things that I always thought were the most important things. So I'd always like that's where I'd put a lot of my money. But now I'm like, I want to get all these preamps. There's this compressor. I want to get all these EQs, and so it is. Turns out it is important, and I'm just gonna buy them all. And there are fantastic emulations of a lot of them. Yeah. But I think I'm trying to count the ones that I think sound really good, that actually sound like the real thing. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 that I use that do the thing that the outboard thing does, and I only think they do that thing because I don't have the outboard as well. Like if I had the outboard of that thing and I compared it to the real, I'd probably be like, no, it's not the same. But it's close. It's close enough that it'll work.
They do a really good job of getting it close, don't they?
Yeah. So
have you gone from like plugins like FabFilter that I can see up and stuff like that to I need this outboard gear now?
Well, luckily I don't need it. Oh, do you mean like just I need it to work with?
Not like it's a necessity, but a want.
Yeah, I think if I if I ended up was ever not working out the studio again, or if all this gear ended up disappearing, I would definitely need to replace it, and I'd need to buy a bunch of stuff, of the equivalent stuff to use for my records, I think. And it's still like my mixes are all a fuck ton of plugins still. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I do in the plugin world, but I'm finding it much more. I'm finding it sounds a lot better, and it's just like easier to do, like on the way in, and like getting things right before I even think about mixing it.
Before it's coming into Logic, it's being put through.
Yeah, it's going through all the cool shit first, and it definitely sounds a lot better.
I think your workflow changes as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I recently got Isotope Power X to edit this podcast.
Yeah.
And that tool is incredible.
I want to get that. It looks brilliant.
The things it takes out are crazy. And then I was editing someone else's podcast, and I didn't have it. And all of a sudden I realised how much I rely on that.
Yeah, how
tool,
limited you are without it. Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's one of those things that's like, you can do it the old way. You can do it the way you did it before. And like, there'll be a fuck ton of records that I'll mix without putting anything through the outboard. But you realise how useful it is to have that if and when you need it.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you get to go from the live room or tracking in here and turn around and mess with these outboards.
And it's fucking cool as well. Yeah. It's just like, I feel like a proper producer now. Not just some guy with his like fucking IKEA table and like some preamps, and like I feel like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing now. I've got like this shit that I can touch. And maybe it might all be like a in my head, but I think it's different.
I think you have that with anything though. It's like when you do get a new piece of equipment and then you like start playing with it and you feel like, yeah, this will enhance me. This will make me better.
Yeah, and like it's sad when it doesn't as well, isn't it? When you get something and you're like, this actually hasn't helped at all. This was 500 quid.
I gained nothing.
Yeah, I've lost so much more than I've gained. Yeah,
I remember that experience because when I was a kid, I was a massive like fan of like Guns N' Roses and Slash and all of that stuff. And I remember doing work experience. I must have been about like 15 or something like that. And there was like a Gibson Les Paul upstairs. Like I think it was the Randy Rhoads deluxe version as a signature.
Nice.
I was like, I'm going to go on that on my dinner. So I remember plugging it in, about to start playing it, and I was like, I actually hate playing this. Like it is, the neck is just way too thick for like what I like
didn't
playing.
make sense for you.
I was just like, oh, I'm absolutely gutted. And then when I did have, I think around about the time I got, my dad got me an SG, the Gibson one when he had the studio ones.
Ah, yeah.
And I remember being the same with that. That's why I eventually sold it, because I just did not like playing it, because the neck just wasn't comfortable. That's why I went back to like PRS and Fender and stuff like that.
The SG neck's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's so wide.
Yeah, it should like head heavy as well.
Yeah.
So like you just
it's
like
scary, isn't it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like you might drop it, and those things will break like that as well. That neck is not built to last.
they're so fragile. It was like, I remember like I'd just like take my hand off it, and you just see it like drop. You're like, oh no, keep it all this. I'm staying like this for the rest of the night.
Yeah, it's just scary live, isn't it? Like if you're playing a gig and like you don't know what you're gonna do, so like there's every chance that it might be broken by the end of the night.
Because it's just a fragile piece of wood in the body and stuff like that. It was like, no more, go.
You rate that thing by the end of it when you're selling it, because we used to we got proper emos, and we like with the red and black studded belts.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The Billy Joe Armstrong special.
He had his studded belt on, and then by the time he went to selling it, we looked behind it, and it was just like
the rash.
massive scratches on it. I was like, mate.
Absolutely ruined. And then I ended up selling it to my dad's friend, who then bullied me into making it even cheaper to sell. So I ended up selling a Gibson SG for 300 quid. And I was like,
oh man, you got a really good deal.
it was like, you are one lucky sod.
Oh, buddy. What do you play now?
I mainly use a PRS McCarthy 2001.
I've never used one of those.
Which are great. I think because the old owner used to be Jack from Marmoset's, it is absolutely knackered now.
Yeah, they made a record here.
Did
Marmoset's.
they?
Yeah, they did maybe their first album here.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I thought I recognised the wall strip from it.
Yeah. But everything was different. It was, I spoke before about how everything was different in the studio, so it was fairly certain it was when when there was the old live room, which was a smaller room.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did a record here because they're from Bradford or Bingley or
when
Keighley
I bought it off him, it was Keighley.
Keighley, yeah.
So I went to the practice room and he was like, try it out, and he had his like rack on like pedals on the floor and he's like mounting the amps that he had.
Sick.
And I was like, this isn't intimidating at all. I was just playing off a few chords. Went, yeah, that's good. Here's your money.
Are they still a band? I haven't seen them.
Well, last I'd seen, Jack and the singer had a kid.
Oh wow.
So I don't know what's going on with him at the minute.
Fair play.
I'd like more from him because we saw him at Download a couple of years back now.
Yeah.
2018. And it was so good.
Was that one of the last shows they played?
I think it was, No, because they toured with Yumi at 6 after that.
Right.
Because I remember catching them at that when the Yumi at 6 were doing the 6th album. And they still got them, but then after that it went a bit quiet.
Might just be a family break, like we
makes
earlier.
sense. Like, at least
but it's good though for creativity. I think maybe having that slight break from it might actually give them more to mess around with when it comes back to going to the studio again.
I'd be interested to see what their music would be like. What their music would be like at this change in their life as well.
Yeah, because obviously you think your mentality would change.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, so I'm 29 now, and my girlfriend wants us to have kids within like. It was a couple of years. It's probably like a year now. And I'm thinking a lot about how that's going to change everything. So I'll probably change the way I work as well, and like the amount of time I spend in the studio.
Yeah,
perspective on everything.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Yeah, but tuning absolute nightmare because we play in drop B at the minute.
Oh fuck!
So like, hence Kemper, we can then transpose it. Like our other guitarist now, Sam, he transposes his from drop D down to B, and there's just no difference whatsoever. So the idea being that when it comes to next year when we release new stuff, we'll do it where we have the one singular guitar in drop D and then transpose it to whatever song we're playing. Like if it's the old stuff, move it down.
That's cool.
And do it that way because at the minute it is a nightmare.
Is it kind of the strings kind of go all over?
Yes. And stability wise, like mine just sounds like a fart at the minute because I've not changed it for a bit. But
dude, you gotta get an Evertune. Yeah, the Evertune bridge is so good.
It's the actual machine heads on it now are just gone.
Oh, fuck.
If you knock the high E slightly, that's it. It just drops instantly. It's like, for God's sake, then tune it up again. And then you can see your tuning fingers pinging from side to side because it doesn't know what to do with itself.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So I might go back to Fender.
As a non-guitarist, what's Evertune?
Evertune is the best thing ever. Okay, so I'll show you it afterwards, but it's a bridge on your it's a bridge that you put on your guitar that by some magic means that you can set it to never go out of tune. So it will you can tune it once and a month later it will be in that tuning. I check it every day when I'm doing a record just because it might move by a cent or two. And you can also set it so the strings don't bend, which is so good, especially with heavy down-tuned music, to have someone, if you're picking really hard, if you're picking a super hard breakdown or gent especially or something like that, and you do one track on the left, you do one track on the right. If you're using a normal guitar with strings that aren't heavy enough especially, there will be a slight pitch difference between the left and the right. Now it drives me crazy. Now I know that I don't have to have that. And the Evertune it makes life so much easier for recording. It's a lot faster as well. So I've got 2 guitars that are fitted with it, but I'm probably going to fit all of them with it. I've got one guitar right now that's literally just set up for octave chords with the Evertune.
Oh, cool.
There's just 2 strings on it. I got the A string and the G string on. Just because octave chords, the middle string will always get a kind of noise, and that winds me up. And if you hit that on a 5th fret or a 7th fret or a 12th fret, then you're going to hit the harmonic, which makes things sound much worse. So I always just take all the strings off and do it that way.
Yeah, we did it when we went to. Are you familiar with Ian Sadler?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Where with our old band we went to Emmeline. I think it's 2013 now. But we was recording guitars. It was literally right, strings off.
Yes. Oh, I love Ian.
It was 1 or 2 on it, and then that would be it. And every take was tune.
That's fucking
yeah.
Tune.
That
That's awesome.
He's awesome, Ian.
Yeah, I fucking love Ian. We have a little Facebook group with a few of the old UK producers, so we all chat in that a lot. It's sick.
Nah, it's cool.
Because especially with all of us recording, generally you're either on your own or you don't have any co-workers, so it's nice to have someone to talk to and be like, am I fucking up? Am I doing something wrong? And everyone's like, no, we do this. Thank God.
It's nice that it's a nice community, it sounds like, rather than, I'm competing for this band as well.
It doesn't seem to be like that at all. There's another really great Facebook group that a guy called Ramesh Dangoda.
Oh, Control Room.
Yes. Fuck, that is brilliant. I can't say enough good things about that thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he's super nice, and he makes such great records.
Yeah, it was he did the last actual Bring Me album. Bring Me's coming up a lot in this.
Yes, he engineered that, and I remember the first record that his first big album was Kids in Glass Houses one, and that album was
the clean
that hit me at the
that album.
So good, right? So fucking good. Yeah, I want to listen back to that. Actually, I haven't listened to it in ages.
Such good.
I really liked it at the time.
So here's a question for you whilst we're on that. How do you take a band's vision and then critique it to a sense to make it better and enhance it, but kind of keep it to what they wanted when they first came in to the studio?
That's broad. Because I think that's a lot of very small decisions. I think it starts with when we're emailing each other. One of the first things that I'll ask for, even before they've booked in a lot of the time, is if they could make me a Spotify playlist of the records they really like. Yeah. Because I want to make sure that my brain's in the right place for their music. Right. Yeah. And I want to make sure I'm coming at it from the right angle. And that'll give me a lot of information about what they expect. Do they expect the drums to be gridded and edited, or does it need to be a natural? Do they have a more produced, polished sound, or is it something much more kind of lo-fi? That's probably the most useful thing. And then the songwriting arrangement thing, I will tend to ask how much input that they want me to have. I'll tell them I'll give you as much or as little as you want, depending on what you're comfortable with. And sometimes it's sometimes bands are fucking tell us anything, rip this song to shreds, tell us if you like it or you hate it, or what can be improved. And Sometimes bands are a bit more like, well, we've worked really hard on these songs and we know what they want to do. And so, sometimes bands don't implicitly say that, and you kind of got to guess as well. And in those cases, it's sometimes a little bit about picking the right moment and the right thing that's going to have the most impact. Like what's like the smallest change you can make to have that really big impact on it. Whereas other bands, it's just like, you can be like, dude, this is fucking shit, we're going to change this. Like, this snare sound sucks, we're not doing this. And you can be really very, not brutal, but you can be very direct with them.
Critical about it.
Yeah, like with Luke Rainsford, we spent 6 weeks working on that album. So we were like we were super close by the end of it. And it was also by the point, we were at that point, we were just like, that's fucking shit, we're not doing that. That's cool, we're gonna do that. It was like super immediate. Or like, I just grab a guitar and I was like, I'm gonna do this fucking 4-part guitar harmony solo. And there's nothing you can do about it. And we put that on the record. I really liked it.
But it was like, I remember when we spoke to Sean Smith and they were on about the first Blackout album and they recorded it with Jason Perry.
Ah, yeah.
And they were discussing the whole thing of that. In the end of it, like, they got told by Jason, it was like, it's not about ego. It's not about if you need that guitar solo part and stuff like that. Whatever enhances the record is for the greater good.
Yes,
to quote Hot
absolutely.
Fuzz.
Jason's fucking great. I find that as I'm doing, like, working with more established, working with bands who've been doing it more, who care, I guess, like, who care enough to invest more in their music, they tend to realize that a lot more. Whereas the smaller bands who aren't willing to, like, basically what I'm trying to say is, when I was cheaper, bands had a lot more ego about that kind of shit, and they wanted to have their thing and their part. Whereas now, it's weirdly, when bands are spending more on their recording and they're spending more time as well, they're much more, like, the only thing that they tend to care about is whether the song as a whole is fucking rad or not. Yeah.
I think that's when we've been going to the studio, that's been like a big part, because like obviously the producer has done this a lot more, so they know what works.
Yeah.
And I found like when we go into the studio with like demos or whatever, knowing what we want to do, I feel like getting that fresh perspective from the producer is a lot better, because we're stuck in that like mind frame of where we're like, this sounds good, we'll record this, but then like when you get the producer's point of view on it and they chuck the extra bits, and it's like, man, this
I think
like,
having that fresh
big.
Perspective is so much better. It's so crucial though, because if you get stuck in that little bubble of demoitis, where you think whatever you've got is the bee's knees and you don't care about anybody else's opinion, you're cutting yourself off. You're cutting yourself off from having that criticism, which might actually enhance your track and be able to benefit you, the band, the song. So you're not doing yourself justice by cutting off that part.
Yeah, and I get it though, because it's scary, and it's like you're putting yourself, you're giving a part of something that's really important to you to someone else, and you've got to have a lot of trust in someone. So it's
totally.
like, I fully, like, that's why there are times where I know not to
interject
too much, because it is a scary thing. But sometimes it's just like a simple thing, like, oh, the bass and the kick, we just need it to lock in this part, we just need to change the bass part a little bit on here. Or like, oh, there's a swing on, like, a lot of the time it's the rhythm, it's like, oh, there's a swing on the guitars and the bass here but not on the kick, so we need to make sure we've adjusted for that and stuff like that, things to make it just the whole song makes sense. Sometimes that people don't realize, if they're not heavily demoing as well, if they're just like practicing, that they don't hear what the other person's doing in the practice room. We've just got to accommodate for that. But in general as well, because most of the time a band doesn't have the kind of budget to do a pre-production session or anything, so they'll just send me like an iPhone recording or something from the practice room, just anything that I can at least kind of figure out what needs to be done. And I think that actually a lot of the time the practice room recordings are kind of more useful than the demos, because you can find out how good the drummer is and how much work you're gonna have to do, because that's the thing that takes the most work, is making sure that the drums sound amazing. And if the drummer is even doing something simple, like I think that'll come up quite a lot, is a flam on a kick and the snare on like if they're doing a 4 on the floor kind of beat, if they're going dun dun and the snare isn't hitting directly on the kick, that's something that can just totally take you out of the production when you're listening. When you're listening to the song, you're like, oh, all I can hear now is this 2 hits at the same time. So it's like, even just knowing for that, to be able to be like, okay, you need to practice this if you can.
Yeah.
That can be super useful.
Your stomach
My
keeps
stomach's
going
having
for
a
it.
nightmare.
Is that your stomach?
Sorry,
Yeah. It's like
I saw everyone look over. I was like,
You're looking at me I'm like, this is so annoying. It's like from just having coffee and then that's about it. My stomach's going, please feed me.
oh, buddy.
So it sounds like Chewbacca at the minute. I was talking to him in the background when we're listening to this.
I'll isolate it and put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compress it super heavily.
Okay.
I imagine that's how you feel fasting at the minute.
Yeah, but I got to eat it too. So
Oh, right.
I'm doing
Oh.
like the other way. I'm
Fine
doing
now.
what was it, 16/8? Yeah, the 16/8 thing. I finish eating about 10 p.m. just because like the way that my schedule and life
Yeah.
runs is that's normally about the time I get to eat.
Yeah.
And then eat again at 2. But I feel amazing. I feel so. I've been doing it a week. I hated it on the second day. I was like, this is a fuck. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, I don't want to do this tomorrow. I'm not. Maybe I'll do like 12. Maybe I'll do a 12-hour fast. Maybe I can make that work. But I ended up doing the 2 again, and then I go bouldering like 3 times a week, and I was like climbing up the walls like a child. I was like, I've got so much energy. It's amazing. So we'll see how long this lasts. But the reason I'm doing it is because I'm reading this book on I think it's just called Longevity. It's about how to live longer. And it turns out people who do intermittent fasting or some kind of fasting tend to live longer because it turns on. There are a few genes that you can turn on that will make you live longer. It turns on one of the genes that does that. Another thing that I think that is good is Resveratrol, which is in red wine, but you would need to drink like 500 bottles of red wine a day to get the effect of
Oh my God.
of it. But there's a pill you can take, so I'm probably going to get one of those pills and try that out.
Do I want to attempt the wine first?
I'm such a lightweight, like 2 pints and I'm fucked. So I don't think I should try the wine.
500 bottles a day.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Like, I know hangover's even better for red wine just after 1 bottle. Like,
Oh.
I don't think you'd survive the day.
No, you
Matty,
wouldn't.
just to let you know, I don't think anyone's tried that.
I mean,
It's just the amount of chemicals.
Yeah. The Heaven's Basement gig.
Oh man, he was bad for that.
I went to. We weren't watching Heaven's Basement once in Manchester, but I went to Hard Rock Cafe beforehand to get some food.
Yeah.
And me and my mate Ryan, we decided to have a bottle of red each before we went.
Oh, cute.
So we did that. We had not between us, but we had one each, and then we went for cocktails and then all that stuff. It's like a proper girly day. But then we went to the student union. We met up with you.
Yeah. I remember not joking. You could just hear him before you actually saw
Oh my
him,
God.
because all you could hear of him was them pissed as a
Singing
fart.
Phil Collins.
Yeah. Oh, he goes, I can feel it coming.
The taxi driver was like, "What the fuck, man?"
What time was this? Because
This was like 6 o'clock,
Oh,
6, 7
mate.
o'clock.
Oh no.
Yeah, it would have been. And then you were like, I'm just going to take a slight trip to the toilet. I was like, all right, mate.
No, I got a trooper beer first. I was like,
That was
yeah,
it.
just go, I could do with a beer. So I went to the bar, took a sip of this trooper beer, and I was like, I need the toilet. And they're like unisex toilets as
Yeah.
well. So I went in there, burst straight in, threw up, and it was like just pure red wine.
Oh no.
Like a river of red just
Oh
shooting.
god, I
out.
bet that looks terrifying. Is
Yeah,
someone seeing
yeah.
that? Oh buddy.
So maybe just the red pill.
Just a
Instead
pill, I
of-
think.
Yeah,
maybe.
you don't want that happening to you.
Yeah,
go
I
full
think we'll
circle.
take the pill.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, how did this transition from you from starting producing to you're in this amazing studio right now?
So
I know that's a
it's
very
long.
big question.
A big story.
Yeah.
When I was a young boy, when I was like 17, 16, no, I must have been 16. I was doing an A level in music tech, and I heard a recorded drum kit for the first time, and I was like, "Fuck, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. This is the only option for me now is doing this." That was it. And then I bought the cheapest recording gear I could afford, and basically just messaged every single band that existed on MySpace at the time. This was 12 years ago. Well, I must have been 18 by the time I got the gear. It was 11 years ago. And I would drive to people's like rehearsal rooms, like houses, anywhere just to record a band. And I did that for a few years. When I started uni, did a music tech production degree. It was a waste of time. They always are.
Yep.
Yeah, waste time, waste of money. Just sign up to Nail the Mix instead if you are thinking of doing that. But the good thing about it was that I went to university in Huddersfield, and there was no real student area, so the house that we had was just like a detached house, and we had a dining room that, like, I was in a band with at least one of the guys. Yeah, I was in a band with one of the guys, and the two other guys that we lived with, they were in a band together as well. So we used that for band practice, and I would just have bands come over a bunch of times a week for us to record in there as well. And I did that for a bit until in the third year of uni, it was like you could do like a year in industry thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't like any other options, but I found a studio in New York that would have me for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I worked under a guy called Mark Saunders and Ollie Hammett. Mark was the producer and Ollie was like the studio manager. And Mark he'd mixed like The Cure's Disintegration and Wish, and done like Depeche Mode, done some Marilyn Manson.
Wow.
The first song he ever engineered was David Bowie and Mick Jagger's Dancing in the Street. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that was fucking wild to learn from people like that. And then Ollie is just like an amazing artist and producer manager now. And he's doing, like, one of his clients has done a bunch of stuff with Shawn Mendes, and
Right, yeah.
another one of his clients is doing the James Bond soundtrack for the newest one.
Yeah.
So that was really wild, like, to see that whole world, see how much bigger the recording world was from my small little, bands in the practice room. And then I came back, and then went back out there for a month actually, and went on tour with a band and did some bits of recording. But then I came back to England, and I was supposed to be working out of a studio in London for like the other 6 months of this year thing.
Yeah.
And my friend James Simpson, who plays in the what are they called now? They were called Get Inuit, and then they changed their name. Fuck, what's this band called now? Because every time I Google it, I was thinking about this the other day. I can't remember. So my friend James Simpson, who's a great producer as well, he had a studio that is literally, you can probably see out the window from where we are. It was just it's basically a flat, and it had a live room, and it had a control room, and it had like a little kitchen. I had a shower as well.
Is that why I could hear drums?
Oh no, there's a drum teacher across the road as well. Yeah.
Right.
So I was in there for like a year and a half. But this woman that wasn't soundproofed or anything, and this woman across the road kept complaining, so I had to move out, and then ended up moving to Manchester. So I was going out with a girl at the time who lived in Manchester, so I moved to Manchester, and worked at a studio there called HQ for 2 years, and then moved to a slightly bigger studio called Airtight for another 2 years after that. And then my current girlfriend lives in Leeds. I moved to Leeds. There's a bit of a theme there.
Yeah.
And so each studio I was working at was like a slightly bigger studio, and I was starting to do, like, I guess, slightly more high profile work, or bands that more people cared about. From in the first one in HQ, I worked with a band called Night Harvest, who a lot of people really dug at the time. So I got quite a lot of bands that sounded similar. Were in the same scene. Like I was working a lot in like the UK emo revival scene and the UK like DIY punk scene. And I still am. And then that kept going. Worked Airtight in Manchester. Then I moved to my last studio in Leeds, which was a place. It was originally called Cottage Road, and they'd done like Eagles and Pulled Apart by Horses and Pigeon Detective's first album was done there and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, and so I was there for 2 years. I seem to be at a studio. Oh, I was there for 3 years, I think. So I was there for 3 years, and I did a bunch of really, really cool records. And then Ryan, who owns this studio, just called me up one day and was like, "Do you want to have a chat?" And then it ended up that I was moved into this amazing dream studio.
Wow.
That was the very quick and dirty story of it.
The summary, if you will.
The summary, yeah, the cliff notes of it.
What was your first reaction on the day you moved in here? Was it just mind blowing?
Yeah, I was like, when everyone had gone and it was just me like setting stuff up. I was just like, I can't believe it is, because this is the studio that I'd done one session before with, a 2-day session engineering for Ginger Wildheart had a project, and it was under a producer called Kev Van Bergen, and I was just engineering, and the engineer at the time, he'd like double booked, so he couldn't do 2 days, and I was like, I'd love to do like just one day, do one of my own sessions here. That'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
So to be working here every day now is just like
such a nice space.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
And I imagine from the move around you've had from studio to studio, you just gained more and more of capturing things in different rooms and adjusting them.
It's really helped me learn and like understanding. Also, the majority of the studios I've ever worked in have been quite small live rooms, so I've always had to learn how to make a smaller live room sound much bigger. And now I've got a big live room. It's weird because it's like, I don't need to do half this shit I used to do. It just sounds big as it is.
Because how much easier does it make the mix for you capturing the sound at source perfectly?
So much easier, yeah, a lot easier. For the past, well, I think one of the things that, so I think the difference between this studio and my past studio, I'm still able to make really good sounding records there and really good sounding records here. But I think a lot of the things that I learned that actually improved were more on the tuning side of things. So like drums, for example, like over the past 3 years, getting much, much better at drum tuning has had probably a bigger impact on the sound, on the sounds of my records than going from one studio to another. Maybe. But I think it's also because I literally, just before I moved to this studio, I changed the way I tune drums a little bit, and I felt like, these drums sound way better now. Yeah, it's way easier to make. I think I'm just blathering on. Yeah, it's way easier to make a good sounding record here. I think partially as well is because we've got this big, beautiful SSL G series console. It is a G plus 4048 with some SSL E series EQs in it as well. If anyone's a fucking nerd. And that's like the dream. It's like the dream console, and just being able to EQ drums with that, or EQ anything through that console, just makes everything after it so much easier. But, and I'm not sure if it's just because I'm newer here, but I'm taking longer to mix songs, but I'm also doing much better mixes. So I think I'm just hearing more things that I need. I think it's more creative, doing more creative stuff as well, but I'm hearing more things that I can do now. I'm in this flatter, acoustically better sounding room as well.
And I imagine you've got a lot more toys to play with. And
yeah, which is good or bad in the way that like running things out through like the outboard and stuff. The way I do it is I treat it like a guitar reamp, so I do it in real time.
Right.
Yeah.
So with the Big Thing record, I ran the vocals and the acoustic guitars through it, and there was like for a song that had a bunch of layers of vocals, there was a lot of just like pressing record and just waiting around. So I guess that adds to the time as well. But I don't care. I'd rather spend some more time making something fucking amazing than just being like, well, this is good enough. This is the best that I can do.
Yeah.
I want it to be the best that I can do. Yeah.
Totally. As a pedal nerd and Incubus fan, like I'm losing my shit over everything. Our pedals are right in front of me.
I love them all.
To be fair, that'll give Mike Eisinger a run for his money though.
Yeah, it would actually. That's just ridiculous.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's so. The way that again, up until moving to the studio, and still really, the way I always thought about recording was that, whoa, dude, that was
that was huge.
Amazing.
Should we just mic up my stomach?
Yeah, I'll put like a kick drum microphone on it as well.
Sample it.
The way I always thought about production was the only thing that matters is like the source sound. So I want my drums to sound fucking sick in the room before I even think about putting a microphone on it. And like same with guitars, especially like, so that's why I've got like 30 distortion pedals, because I want to make sure that the distortion I'm getting is the exact sound that I want, rather than being like, I can just plug into this 6505 and EQ it enough to make it sound kind of okay. Like I want it to sound the perfect thing for that sound. So I'm probably going to buy it. I've got 55 guitar pedals actually, 30 distortion I think. And I need more, but I'm actually running out of space. But I think I can probably. So I've got a whole line of pedals, but I can probably fit another line of them behind that. So it should be all right. I'll find somewhere else to put them if not.
Where do you start with the, like, for me walking in here, where do you begin? Is it from capturing that Spotify playlist that a band has made for you? And you sort of select before they come in, right, I'm going to most likely use this equipment.
I'll generally have a bit of a short list in my head, but often, almost always, that's wrong. So, say with drums, for example, I've got 4 kick drums, I've got 7 or 8 snare drums, and I've got a few different sets of toms. Although I've got the set of toms that I'm using now is just some North custom ones that I generally use on every record because they just sound great. But genre to genre, the kick drum, I'll generally know what I'm going to use for what style. Like I've got a big 24-inch 1970s Ludwig that's an amazing rock kick. Ooh. And then I've got a 1960s or 70s Gretsch that's like my indie rock kick. And I've got a couple of I've got the North, which is much brighter, and it works in some... Oh, that was my stomach that time. Ooh, they're talking. So kick drum, I'll have an idea. Snare, I'll generally have tried to... If I haven't spoken to the drummer already, that's probably the first thing I'll ask them is, I'm like, snare drum, do you like ringy? Do you like dead? Do you like high? Do you like low? Do you like roomy drums? Do you like tight drums? What are we going for? And then they'll usually have an idea. Sometimes they'll be like, you just roll with it, and then I'll go back to the song, listen to the song.
Yeah.
I mean, almost always I'll reference the song anyway, and if they're like, I really like this sound, and then if that sound directly contrasts with what the rest of the band want or what the song needs, then we'll be like, oh, we'll try that, and then we can also maybe try this as well. We'll more than likely try a couple of options to see which is going to work. Because obviously, I might be completely wrong. I don't want to have such a big ego that I'm like, nah, of course I know what you need.
Yeah.
So we'll have an idea of what snare sound we want, and then I'll make them hit every single snare drum and just like do the same beat, because I found that, you know, like in Harry Potter when the wand chooses the wizard, the snare drum chooses the drummer. So find the snare that works for the drummer, and then the cymbals tend to be more of a technical issue than anything. Like if like my cymbals work for recording, so if they don't have good cymbals, we'll use those. If they have good cymbals, it just depends on the character of those cymbals, like how bright or dark we want the thing to be. And then we get into miking things up, and I'll almost always be listening against our reference point mixes as well. Like all the songs that the band's like, I'll be like, okay, so even if I don't want us to sound exactly this, like even if we don't want the same drum sound as someone else, which obviously we want a unique drum sound.
Yeah.
But I want it to sound as good or better than that drum sound anyway, so I'll a lot of the time just flip between that and mine. And I've got some like raw stems as well by like producers that I really like. I'm like, okay, what have they done to the kick drum? And I can listen to that and compare it to mine and be like, okay, well, to fit into the mix, maybe I need to add more top end and stuff like that. So for drums, that's how we get started.
Yeah. So
there's a whole bunch of miking as well.
Yeah, A and B in between it throughout the whole.
A lot.
It's not just down to when you're mixing or mastering.
No, I'm doing it a lot because like when you get so into it as well, if you're hearing the same thing over and over again, that thing starts to sound right. So if I'm hearing a snare drum that's too dark for an entire record, and then I say, oh, this sounds fine for the mix, and then the whole record comes like is way too dark, then I need to have something to
contrast it,
to show me that I'm wrong, basically, until it sounds good. Yeah.
So, is there any albums that you wish you would have produced, or any albums that were like massively influential on yourself when it comes to producing or even being a musician? Yes,
I want to, and I will actually. I don't know if I could do it better than these productions, though, but I would have loved to have been involved in them. My Chemical Romance's Danger Days, which is no one's favourite album, but it's absolutely fine. If you listen to that as an adult,
love that album.
It's so good.
Yeah.
There's always one person that likes it, and then everyone else is like, that one's fucking shit. The one with the na 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 song. It's such a great example of brilliant pop rock songwriting.
Yeah, but you've then got like Scarecrow's
a
Time.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm forgetting what the last song was
Sing.
called. No, not Sing. Kids of Yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Kids from Yesterday.
That whole record's brilliant. Also, Panic at the Disco's A Fever You Can't Sweat Out.
Yes.
That album is unreal. Another one, even though it took them like 2 years, is My Bloody Valentine's Loveless as well. Like, it's just the guitar sounds on that record are unreal, and it was a game changer for that genre. And I think that's something that's really cool. It's like when something's had an impact on the genre in a really big way. There's probably more, but now I'm thinking about it and completely blanking on like
Chinese Democracy, Guns N' Roses.
Oh man!
I always have
doing an early Guns N' Roses album. Would be, holy shit, that'd be so.
I always have the issue with the second Panic record with how it's mixed.
Yeah.
With where it's panned directly to one side.
Yeah.
You have one headphone in back when I used to catch the bus. And
Yeah. And your mate had the other headphone.
And then you'd either get the really crap side at 9 in the afternoon or the good side.
Oh yeah, because they did it to be like a 60s record. Didn't
Yeah.
they? So like that's all you had back then was just left, right, and center.
And that was it. But
yeah.
like, oh man, it probably used to throw me off.
Man, that record, I still think that record's brilliant as well. Because again, that
It's
was
an amazing
one that,
record.
Yeah, that was one that got a lot of hate, but it was brilliant. Like it was, and again, for such a young band, they were 16 when they wrote A Few of You Can't Sweat Out, so they must have been
Wow.
19.
Yeah,
when they wrote it, so I think they were 17 when they worked on it. But yeah, for the next album was only a couple of years after, right?
Yeah. And you got songs like Northern Downpour. And,
Absolutely incredible.
Oh, man, such
Yeah.
a good album.
It's wild that it's just Brendan Urie now as well, and it's just like almost a pop project. The songs are still sick.
Yeah.
Similar thing with Paramore, wasn't it? It's just Hayley
Yeah,
Williams.
because she was signed just as her, wasn't she?
I
that
always
was
found
the-
that mental when I found that out.
Mm.
Because when they had the whole suing case against like Jeremy Davis against Paramore for like his money, like royalty rights from Ain't It Fun and all of that.
Yeah.
And then it all came, started dragging it all out.
God, yeah. Mad, isn't it?
Or maybe that was they started the rumors on that, or like disclosing like she being signed by
Yeah,
Atlantic
it was-
first was when Josh Farrer and Zach Farrer left, and then the whole Jeremy Davis stuff then came out, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Everyone knew what was happening with it.
I think it was definitely, that Hayley Williams was signed as an individual artist, and then they built a band around
Yeah.
it, as far as I'm aware. But
Only
they
way
went to
is-
school together,
yeah.
though, so they were all friends. And like, is it Josh or Zach that's the drummer?
Zach.
That guy's fucking incredible.
He is.
So good. Like so much of apparently so much of the snare sound on Misery Business is just how he's hitting the drums.
That's
And that
insane.
sounds that
Wow.
snare sound. I mean, there's a big sample on it as well, but that sound is so good.
It's so fat.
Yeah, everything, man. The actually, I just wish I was the person that. I wish I was as good as, I think it was Ken Andrews who mixed Paramore's Self-Titled. Like,
Right, yeah.
The drum sounds on that record.
Oh, Alan
like,
Rubin.
did he? Yeah, he
Yeah,
played it,
yeah,
didn't he?
the
Yeah.
drummer,
Man, it's amazing. It's incredible because it's so natural, but just like so hyped in a incredible, man. Every time I'm like, this drum mix I've done is cool. Put on Paramore Self-Titled. Fuck.
Why have you done this to yourself?
Fuck. Yeah, again.
Yeah. It took me a while to get used to Self-Titled because I was such a massive fan of Brand New Eyes.
Yeah.
And that drum tone from Brand New Eyes to Self-Titled
Completely
is
different.
so
isn't it?
different.
Yeah. I think Brand New Eyes was, I think it was a guy called Chris Lordalgie who's the big dog who's done like Green Day and Mike.
Yeah.
Every big fucking band. Yeah, they're very different, stylistically different. Like
Yeah.
Chris's is so like snare is like and it just smacks you. Whereas
Yeah.
Paramore is more the Self-Titled is more just so natural and roomy and awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna make that snare sound. I'm gonna get that drum sound. I've got
do
this
it.
room every record I do. I'm like, how can I get that drum sound?
With that room.
Yeah,
You've
yeah, I
got
can
to.
do it now.
Yeah,
just
you've
got
got to.
just got to figure it out.
The most recent album is very Talking Heads.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool. The drum sound
Yeah.
on that is amazing as well. Just like it's so dead and so like punchy and
Yeah.
love it.
I'd be interested to see what they do next, though, in terms of like styling, because I think now everything will be different.
It's
now,
always
every
different and
They're
it's
always
always
changing it up, which is
super
good.
impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you ever wish you could like listen to albums now, but without? Because obviously now when you listen to an album, you're analysing it and you're like every bit. Do you ever
yeah.
wish you could turn that off and just like?
Only for old records, you know, like older, I guess, like classic rock records that a lot of them sound super shit. Or like,
Yeah.
but when you know, like how you remember a record, you listen back and you're like, you know how big something seemed,
Yeah.
and you listen like as a kid or like when you were a teenager first hearing this record and you're like, this is the biggest thing I've ever heard in my life. I can't believe how does this even work? And then you listen to it now, it's like, that sounds like fucking someone's one microphone on the drum kit. It's stupid. one microphone on the drum kit's actually really fucking cool. So yeah, it probably has ruined that a lot, but I think it's also I really enjoy like the analytical, like like hearing something and being like, man, how did they do that? It's so cool. I think I just listen to music differently now, and I just have to accept it. So I can't be like, I wish I didn't have to listen to that fucking great snare sound. And also sometimes it depends on how you're listening to something. So if I'm listening to music while I'm at the gym, I'm not processing it in the same way as if I was like listening to it at home, or if I was listening in the car. That's a weird one. Actually, I think I do notice more weird shit in the car.
I think a car is such a good place to reference a song. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It really shows you how shit you
have
can
to
be.
do the car test.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned that throughout uni every day.
Yeah, I was listening to
It is
Kings of
brutal.
Leon. What was it? What's it called now?
Into the mic, Matty.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to think. On Call by Kings of Leon.
Oh, with the weird reverb.
Yeah,
the stops.
where it says "be there," and he literally just stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stop.
So
I can't not listen to that
I
song now
lo-
without like
Dude,
it's ruined
I
it for me.
love that. I
You
think
like
it's
that?
Yeah. Well, it's like, think of it. Is it a bug or is it a feature? Is it a cool thing? Because it's probably a thing that it was
I think they
intended.
did it intentionally.
I love shit like that. I also like you know when you can tell there's like there's a human element in something. Kingsley and I think are great for that. And there's a song by a band called Tellison, and the line is my dentist is a girl from France. I fancy off her pants, and you can hear him laugh when he says pants, and it's just so charming and so good. And there's like stuff like, you know, like if a drum hits slightly out of time in one place, or like there's like you can hear like when you can hear like the chucking of a guitar in an appropriate thing, not in an octave chord. Oh shit, I'm not even talking to the mic, am I? I do this for a job as well. I'm talking to a mic at least. And I think that stuff can be really charming. But I get it. It can be really
Just a little bit. I can't listen to it.
If I hear it in one of my own records, I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't intend for this. If I'd have done the Kings of Leon record and I didn't mean to put it in there, I'd never be able to listen to it again. I'd be like, guys, I've given you a new mix. I'll pay for mastering. Just put it on Spotify, please.
It is cool when bands do stuff like that intentionally, because it happened with Guns N' Roses as well, didn't it? With the one in the studio where Axl Rose was shagging someone's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, Stephen Adler's missus.
For Rocket Queen, yeah. They was recording Rocket Queen, and in the background you can hear like a woman like having an orgasm. And apparently that was Axl Rose in the studio.
Fucking
like,
hell.
yeah.
That's
Just a
when you
little
know
bit.
you
And
can do what you want.
there was the roller coaster of love as well. The Love roller coaster. When that was recorded, have you ever heard that with? Was it Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah.
I remember the video for it. It was all like Beavis and Butthead style.
Yeah, but apparently there's a scream in that song. You can hear it, and there was the rumour. I don't know if it's true or not, if it's actually been like dispelled or whatever. But apparently someone was getting stabbed.
What?
In the recording room? Yeah.
What? Fucking hell.
Yeah. Someone's getting stabbed. So apparently that's what the scream came from. That was the.
Oh my God.
That was the whole story behind it. I don't know if it was true or not.
I bet that's a rumour that goes along with Marilyn Manson cutting out some of his
Yeah, getting rid of his ears.
Love those things. God.
Yeah.
I don't know. If someone got stabbed here, I just feel
I
terrible.
know. Yeah, you won't think, oh, I'm not recording.
Yeah.
Like, that's nice.
Wait, do that again. I've got to get the EQ right.
I'll put it through the outboard.
Yeah,
for a
let me
change.
patch this compressor. It'll sound a lot better.
Sell it on. Horror film to make a wild out of it. So, we have a segment, we've already told you anyway, but where we ask you what your favourite scary movie is.
Yeah.
And you've already given a response. Would you like to repeat that?
I don't really like scary movies. I get
That's
a bit
okay. We're
scared.
not judging you.
No, not judging.
Sorry. So I watched the Slender Man film 2 weeks ago and it was shit. So shit.
It is bad.
So bad. But me and my girlfriend once started writing this Slender Man sitcom. And I'll tell you the premise of that instead. So, Slender Man lives with his wife Diane and his son Josh, and he's given up slending. He's done. He just lives in suburbia. And
On his LinkedIn page.
yeah, he's given up. He's got his slender gym that he runs because obviously he's really skinny. So like that's his big selling point. It's like, come to the slender gym. Look how slender I am. But his
This
brother comes back to get him to do one last slend, and he's like, I can't do it. I've left the life of slending. I told Diane I'd never slend again, and he does it. Of course, Diane leaves him. And, so the whole series is just.
Oh, is this a sitcom?
It's a series. Well, I haven't done it yet. But I've got a lot of notes in my phone about it. That like every time I'm pissed, I get it out. I'm like, right, guys, let's work on the Slender Man sitcom. And so, what are some of the episodes?
I can't wait for this.
Wait, I'm gonna
Some
get my
of the
phone.
episodes.
Where's my phone?
I think it's over there. While you're doing that, I need the toilet.
Oh god, I can.
I mean, like, if shows like Rick and Morty and Big Les Show can work just from like YouTube and get big, I'm pretty sure Slenderman would take off.
I mean, yeah.
Can we still talking while he's gone?
Yeah.
I think we are, because I mean, he's not paused it, I don't think.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still
Are we
recording.
rolling? All right.
I can
A
confirm.
lot of the time, these lines are just like me pissed, so I've got to read through them just to see like if they're shit.
Wait,
or
so
not.
you've got a script there?
No, it's just like a bunch of a bunch of notes about things Slenderman does.
Oh my god.
All right. Some of them are just tall jokes as well. Like
Right.
Slenderman goes to get his passport photo, but he can't. You know, his head's not in the shot because he's too tall. Slenderman goes. He's trying to reconnect with his family, so they go camping in the woods. But every time he tries to socialize, people always run from him because obviously it's Slenderman.
Right.
I've done like Slenderman trying to do a good deed. Donates his clothes to Africa. The kids look ridiculous because it's just like it's all tall. It's all tall jokes.
God.
One's like you do the like the 2 dates in one night trope. It's really tall, so like you can fucking see him across the room. All right, this is basically it. It's not great. Like when you're saying it on a on a camera, on a microphone, really pushes through how not great it is. I must have been really pissed. I'm at Slenderman using a computer. Lol. The last note I've got is stands at the front of the gig. So annoying. But I think I must have just been
Oh,
behind.
that is one thing when you always end up with that tall guy in front of you at a gig. Fucking hell, imagine if you had
I always feel
Slenderman.
really self-conscious about it and try not to be the tall guy at the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I'll just
every
dug
single
it.
Yeah,
gig.
but do you
also
find like
works.
even if you feel like you're the tall guy at the gig,
There's always a
you're-
taller guy.
There's always a
There's
tall
always
guy.
a-
There's always
Yeah.
The alpha.
the alpha tall man.
The alpha tall man.
So that'll bring us on to pet peeves.
Oh yeah. Oh, what do I not like?
So what is your
What
pet
annoys you
peeve?
most?
Yeah, I was supposed to think about this, wasn't I? But I-
Whether that's in
Talking.
here recording with bands or Slenderman standing in front of you.
I love Slenny. Can't get over it.
Slenny? Slenny.
That was another note. It's like my friends called me Slenny. Ah, what annoys me?
Slenny Henry.
Okay. What annoys me?
That should be a meme. That.
First thing that comes to mind, because I already mentioned it, star signs. Don't fucking make sense. What's the moon got to do with anything? They set the tides, and like, no, I love like. I think about this, and I think about how much I love space. I think space is awesome. I'm not slagging off space here. But,
I think space will
just
be
don't-
okay. It's okay.
It's fine if you're into it. It's cool. It just makes no fucking sense, and it seems like an excuse to. It's like, oh, I have this. I was born on this time, so I have this personality trait. It doesn't make sense. Also, I got told I'm a Scorpio. Don't really act like one, and I got told I'm the different kind. I'm the other one. That's conveniently, there's a kind of Scorpio that's the complete opposite.
Of what a Scorpio is.
Yeah, it's the other
When
one.
people are like, oh, you're such a Scorpio or something.
Yeah.
like that. It's like, how does that make
I
sense?
don't get it. And all my friends are always talking about it all the time. And they're always like, they've all got the fucking app that tells them about the day. And it's like, I can't hack it.
No.
It's just dumb. Just like, read a fucking book instead. Yeah, so that's it. Sorry, don't like.
Star
So the-
I don't like
so-
complaining about things either, though. So I'm not very good at.
Too nice, it seems. You won't throw vases at people in the studio. You're not stabbing
I
someone.
know. I've never met anyone in the studio.
Are you
that I
part
didn't like
Canadian?
I'd love to. Every Canadian I've ever met has been so nice. They are living up to the stereotype.
Oh my god.
That's a stereotype you want them to live
I
up
just
to.
think
Yeah.
of South Park.
I think of Billy Talent.
A Billy Talent Canadian.
Yes.
Oh, Nickelback.
Oh
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about Nickelback. Don't deserve the hate they've got.
They don't. Are
We
you a
spoke
Nickelback
about
fan?
that.
We spoke about this to Roe.
But-
Yeah.
I've got one song on my computer from. It's the Feed the Machine. It's that song.
Yeah.
Because once someone was like, "Man, Nickelback's production's really good," and I was like, "You know what? I bet it fucking is." Because obviously it would be.
Go
And it was
you.
mixed by Chris Lordology, the boy. Because He's
The king.
yeah, the king. And so I listened to that and I was like, man, this song's fucking sick. Why is everyone hate on this band? Like, what have they ever done wrong to anyone? Nothing. Well, they did that one song, didn't they? What was the one that was it?
Photograph.
Rockstar? Photograph. Yeah, I mean, it's just
Look at his graph.
It's just like middle of the road rock, innit? But
I think it's just become cool to hate them though, hasn't it?
yeah, poor
Yeah.
Nickelback.
People. Yeah. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, but they still sell out arenas and stuff like that. They can't be doing too bad.
Ah.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, lads, good.
Good on
for
you.
them. Good for you, Nickelback.
Did you see the photo of Chad Kroger and Nick Cage meeting up recently?
I did not.
'Cause they both have you seen that the comparison between them?
Oh yeah.
They look spits of each other.
Amazing. It's just like with Chad Smith and Will Ferrell. As
Oh
well.
my god,
yeah.
that is amazing.
Yes.
When what show was that on there where they met up and
Saturday Night Live. Or something.
yeah, they had the drum off.
Yeah.
There's another one as well. I can't think of the actor's name. If you've ever seen Die Hard 4, and there's the geeky kid,
Just
but it looks like the singer of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh my god, yeah,
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin Long and singer of Red Hot
There's a
Chili
very
Peppers.
niche one, but
Yeah.
you have to have. Have you ever any of you guys watched Suits?
Yes.
All right, Lewis Litt.
Yeah.
Watch a video of Alien Ant Farm playing. The drummer
Oh my
has the
God.
exact same face as Lewis Litt. Like
Ah.
it's weird. It looks like Lewis Litt is in Alien Ant Farm. It's fucking mad.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch that now.
Yeah.
So that's what everyone can do after this podcast.
Yeah, go and watch.
Yeah.
Your homework for this week.
It's funny because I used to watch Back to the Future, and every time I watched it, I was like, fuck me, he looks so much like Flea. And like me just thinking as I listened to Red Hot Chili Peppers, I was thinking, nah, they could have been around then. Like,
Yeah.
so I was just listening to like By the Way and all that at the time.
Yeah.
And then watching Back to the Future, I was like, fuck me, I was like, why is this guy? Is this like Flea's dad or something? Come to realise it was actually
is.
Flea.
He's been in a couple of things,
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Why was
Yeah.
he in Back to the Future?
He was.
He's one of
Flea.
It's Flea.
Biff's,
He's one of the like the bad guys, isn't
friends.
it?
One of Biff's friends,
But-
isn't he?
yeah.
Oh, no
One of the
way.
bullies in number 2.
Yeah, and he ends up being like Marty's boss, doesn't he? In number
Yeah, number
2.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
It's like when Henry Rollins pops up in the TV show and you're like, Henry
Yeah.
Rollins, what are you doing there?
When he was a bad guy, he was like a
Oh.
white supremacist in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, I
In the
haven't
second
seen that.
Oh
season.
yeah, I heard about that. I love Henry Rollins.
He's just he looks such an angry guy, but he's so calm and
Yeah.
so intelligent. It's unreal.
Looks
Yeah,
terrifying.
ridiculous.
It's like he could bench press me for like a year.
I always picture the way he looks in Liar, that music video. Have you ever seen it?
No.
He's just painted red and topless, screaming into a microphone.
Oh, I think I have seen. That sounds familiar.
I think Beavis and Butthead did take the piss out of it. So
Nice.
if you're a fan of Beavis and Butthead, it might have popped up on the. But yeah,
You know, I don't think
anytime-
I've ever watched a Beavis and Butthead episode.
Really.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I think
It was around when I was a kid, but I just never. Maybe I didn't have like Sky or anything until I was a little bit older, I guess. So maybe I missed it.
I think I just
Oh,
go
I didn't
through
get the challenge.
phases of looking on YouTube, like them just commenting on music videos.
Ah.
Metallica's one and Rollins' band, they stick out the most for me. That's what I always think of.
That's a good point, actually. Have you ever been like curious about doing sound on like a film or TV show or getting involved in that sort of
I'd
stuff?
probably be more interested in directing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really?
I
That'd be
think rather
cool.
than the sound. Yeah, I like the whole creative vision thing of like making a thing and having an idea and then seeing it to fruition. Probably less interested in doing sound.
Right.
That seems a bit more boring to me. I
It
like.
is.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I like.
Just
maybe
the way I
maybe it's just a
process
big
stuff.
ego and I want to fucking be in charge of it. I can't fucking work for anyone else either. So maybe that someone would be like, you need to do this. I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I can
Becomes
work
the
for
James
bands.
Franco of the music industry.
No, I think I'd just be more interested in like the creative vision thing, and I'd love to make a film. We've got the Slenderman one, so
I was just about to
Yes.
say, you started with Slendy now, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Be on E4 soon.
I want H. John Benjamin to do his voice as well. From Archer and
Yeah.
Oh
Asparagus.
yeah.
I think he'd
Bob's
be a
Burgers,
really
isn't
great
he?
Slenny.
So you'd want it as like a cartoon series?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like animated series.
Basically, just the same style as Archer, I think. That
Yeah.
kind of
No,
thing.
I'd say
That'd be
like
great.
BoJack
I could see that
Horseman or
working.
something like that.
You know what? I can't watch. BoJack Horseman just got too sad for me to watch.
I've never
I-
actually seen it. I just know what the visually looks like, and that's what I'd imagine
Uh,
like a Slender Man sitcom being like.
Yeah, it might be.
Or Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. It just like that show got I really liked it, and then I was just like, it's just making me so sad. I don't want to have to. I want to put like half an hour a day or however long an episode is into being sad. I stopped watching it. It's bumming me out too much.
Oh, man.
Speaking of like being bummed out by things like that, how do you stay motivated through all this? Is it because the way you mix up your days and stuff?
Yeah. So I think the way I've structured my life now has definitely helped with that. About a year and a half ago, I for the first time ever in my life, hit burnout because I was working really, really hard on like I did an album. There ended up being some really long days, and then into an EP. There was again kind of really, really long days, and I just hit this point where it was like, I felt completely exhausted. I felt much less motivated than usual. I still think I was still pretty motivated, but like I wasn't really as interested in like the other side of the job. So like, and still, to be fair, I don't go to as many gigs now, but I wasn't really interested in going to gigs. I wasn't as interested in finding more bands to work with. I was just like, I just really want to just go to the studio and record.
Yeah.
And I realized that a big part of it was just that I was working. I like always had. I tried to keep set hours. So now I do, and I work 10 till 6. But I was way less strict about it back then, and also I'd work like weekends and stuff. So I'd never really have any social life. And the year before that, actually, the studio I was working at before then, I'd worked evenings and weekends in that studio, so I literally like never had free time. Because during the day, I'd just mix songs because I love fucking working, so I spend all my time doing it. So I found that myself in that situation where I was completely burnt out, and I was like, well, I basically needed to like rebuild myself from that point. And look at it, that kind of coincided with the point where I had a bunch of cancellations. So I was like, well, this is a really good kind of stopping point for me to kind of fix all these problems. So I changed my schedule, so I only worked one weekend a month, which is what I do now as well. Like, there's always going to be a band that needs a weekend, so I do my one weekend a month. As much as possible, I keep my hours to 10 till 6. There's always reasons why it runs over. In this new studio now, because I'm still getting used to things and I'm still working around, I'm a little slower because I'm in a new place.
Yeah.
So I'm spending a little bit longer than doing that. So that definitely helped with, meaning that put me in my brain in the place where when I was here to work, and I was here to be really productive. And then when I was not here, I was not thinking about it as much. You always take it home, but I wasn't thinking about it as much. And then I kind of layered on top of that. So this is much more than motivation for the job. I think I had to fix my entire life to do it. I'd already been like started going to the gym and stuff, but that definitely helped. Sorting out my diet, especially like in general, I try and follow like this slow carb diet thing. You basically just don't eat white carbs as much, but you have a fucking sick cheat day. And there's things that I don't do in it, like you're not supposed to eat fruit because of something, because it's to lose weight, but I don't feel like I need to lose weight. Yeah, because of this. Yeah, because of all that. But I eat a fuck ton of fruit because it's delicious. So I sorted out my diet. I basically just eat a lot of fucking broccoli and a lot of fresh food. And what else have I done? Oh, I started rock climbing, which I've talked about before. I'm sure I've talked about it on this.
Yeah, you did.
And that's a really good thing for your brain, and as like just doing exercise is amazing for productivity. So that all of those things together kind of helped me be in a position where I can focus really well on work, and motivation doesn't even come into it. It's just, this is me. Like, this is just, and to be fair, now. And up until that point before as well, motivation had never really been a factor. I've never given myself another choice. There's never been anything else that I could try and do. This is really the only job I've ever had. I worked for 6 months in McDonald's. That was the hardest job I've ever had. And then I worked in Accessorize and Monsoon, which was the most boring job I've ever had. And I worked in like another clothes shop. But aside from that, and I was I was like 20 the last time I did so almost a decade. There was just there's nothing else I can or ever want to do.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I think it's just so ingrained in my personality and who I am, for better or worse, because that can be a bad thing, I think, for some people. I don't know, there's no not doing it.
Yeah.
I think I can be quite frustrating for my girlfriend with that as well, because like, especially when I was working the mad hours. The thing I used to do, which I'd spoken when I was doing the evenings and weekends. So an evening session would run from like 7 p.m. till 2 a.m. But I'd normally get up about 10 and I'd mix up until 6:30 when I had to ride my bike to the studio to do a recording session. And I didn't really take days off that often. She lived in Cornwall at the time, so I'd take like 3 days off every 2 or 3 weeks and do that trip and come back.
Yeah.
And that was my rest. But the thing is, so mentally I didn't feel drained or anything, but I didn't realize how much of a physical toll that had taken on me until I'd sorted everything out and started properly resting. Because when you're in that position, whether you are in anything, like if you're overworking, if you're overeating, if you're over drinking, if you're smoking, if you're doing anything, if you're not exercising, you don't realize how shit your body feels until you stop doing that thing or start doing the healthy alternative thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm really long-winded.
No, don't worry.
Don't worry.
I like it. What's the reason you start at 10 now? Because I remember reading something, especially mixing.
Yeah.
Some engineers just wake up and subconsciously just listen straight away. It's the first thing they do to try and change the mix. But is there a reason you start at 10 o'clock?
The reason I first did it, so it kind of been set up with the studios that I dry hired. I only had a few options for when I could use the studio.
Right, okay.
And 10 was always the starting time. And then when I moved to Leeds and I moved into the old studio, sorry, just have a drink. So when I moved to Leeds, when I moved to the old studio, my girlfriend, she worked from 10:15 till 6:15. So I was like, well, I'll work at the time. I was like, I'll work 10:30 till 6:30 because then, like, we can leave work at about the same time, get home around the same time. So I basically just did that so I could spend more time with my girlfriend. And then I was like, let's do 10 till 6. I think when I have kids, I'll probably do 9 till 5. Traffic allowing, because that kind of comes into it with I live in Leeds. Castleford takes about 25-30 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Or it's like 10 minutes on the train, but I have to get to the train station. So yeah, just that's it. And it works. It makes sense to me. I think it works. I'd only ever go earlier. I wouldn't go later though. I don't think.
Yeah, because then you'd going into like the late nights again.
Yeah, and also there are things that do have like a time sensitivity on them, like going climbing, for example. That place closes at 10, so I need to be there before then. I want to spend like at least an hour there. I think the thing that I've realized that I've done is that I've turned other things into work. So like I would work all fucking day and all fucking night because I didn't have another thing that I loved as much as doing that. So why would I do anything else? And now I've got a few extra things that I don't love as much, but they're, as in, well, my girlfriend as well, and my cats. But aside from that, like, that was the only activity that I was interested in doing.
Right.
But now I've got some other things that I've laid on top, and because they're time sensitive, and like, there's also like, I can't go to the gym at like midnight because I'll be knackered and I won't be able to do the things that I want to do at the gym.
Our drummer's like that, where he'll go to the gym at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And
if it works for him, that's ace.
Yeah, but like, we were like, what the hell? Just go in a normal day.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's onto something. Maybe there's something that works for him. Does he normally get up late or?
Well, because he does, because he runs like a big pub, doesn't he? Yeah. We're local, almost anyway. But because he does a lot of closes. That's why he ends up then going, right, I'll go to the gym afterwards.
I was going to say, I used to work nights, and that is what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your day off, just keep your normal.
That's what I used to do as well. 4 a.m. was my bedtime as like a standard. God, I can't stay up past 11:30. Yeah.
No, I can't. I'm like,
I love it. But I've also, this is a thing, a part of it is in that book I talked about peak performance. there are two, and there's another one that talks about this called When by a guy called Daniel Pink.
I want to get some book recommendations after
I
when
give
we
you
end
loads
this.
of them. I'll just scroll through my Audible. So there are two types of people, either a morning person or a night person, basically. But it's kind of split into owls and larks. And it generally, I think it's like 10% of people are night people. Or maybe it can't be that. It must be more than that. But the majority of people are morning people in general, or not morning people, but day people. And
Right.
then some people are night people. And there are, I'm trying to say this in the best way possible. So there are 3 periods of the day for kind of productivity in general. There is your peak, your trough, and your recovery. If you're a day person, you have your peak in the morning, which is where you can do your best analytical, heads down, just fucking working work.
Right.
And you'll have a trough, which you basically can't do anything good in, so just do your fucking emails at like midday, like 2 p.m., that kind of time.
Yeah.
And then you'll have a recovery. Recovery can be quite useful for brainstorming, more creative kind of things. So that's if you're a morning person. If you're a night person, you have your peak at the last part of the day, at night. Then you have your recovery in the morning. So it's just like, that explains why he might go to...
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and also it changes as you get older. So in your early 20s, you tend to be more of a night kind of person.
I was going to say, I
old
used to be
people
more
get
of
up
that.
at 6 a.m. because they're morning people.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I never.
No, I've never actually given that much
Yeah,
more of an
no.
in-depth thought.
Fucking love books about this.
Because I remember we used to be like, oh, you're more of a night person. And then I was like, am I though? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I have. But then it's now begun to slightly change with me getting up earlier and stuff like that. And yeah, I can see that now. That makes more sense.
It's kind of like your habits as well, because when I was in uni, I was a night owl me. I was
You're
up
horrendous,
until
man.
like 4.
I always was
4
as
in
well.
the morning,
Yeah.
and then I had to get up at like 12, if not later.
Yeah.
I always really struggled to get up
Yeah.
early. Yeah.
I just felt like that was the kind of norm when I was in like uni, but then like
Yeah, you'd wake up at like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd feel so guilty if I did that now. I'd feel like I'd
Yeah, that's
totally
the
wasted
same.
my day.
Yeah.
let yourself down.
Yeah.
I do that on days off at work. I'm like, I've got to get up at 6, otherwise
Yeah.
I'm losing out.
I force myself up and then
Yeah.
like grumpy as hell in the morning, like
Yeah.
fuck you everyone. Like,
Yeah, but like 12 coffees later, you're all right.
yeah. I have my brew. I'm like, it's all good in the world.
So out of all the bands, is there any that you'd love to work with in the future?
Still My Chemical Romance. Yeah, like I want to do that comeback album. I just didn't get reformed so bloody soon.
So, Jared, if you're listening, as we know you're our favourite listener.
I imagine.
That'd be amazing.
My website's bobcooperproducer.com, Jared. Just send me a message.
Let's make it work.
Do you think they'll do what Jack White suggested and did at his gigs, no phones? Because that seems to be a bigger thing. I'd like your opinion on it, really.
Man, maybe. You know what? It's probably more annoying than phones. Because I don't really go to that many big gigs. I don't go to that many gigs anymore. It's normally like 1 a month or so. But more annoying than phones is gig photographers at the front of a small show for the entire set getting in everyone's way. Like,
Yeah.
that's much more annoying to me. You know, like, I've seen
the
like,
entire set.
yeah, like you get 3 songs. 3 songs
Yeah.
is kind of the rule. But
Yeah, because that's what Sam had when we did Static
Yeah.
X. It was like 3 songs and you're out.
'Cause I
Yeah.
didn't know that was even a
No,
thing,
I didn't.
but it makes sense.
Yeah, and like I've had it where people like it's like they almost think they're a part of the band, and I'm like, I don't. Like you're taking a photo of the band, mate. Just do your fucking photos and leave so everyone else can enjoy the gig. I've had a bunch of times where I've been really annoyed about. I could have done that as my peeves, couldn't I?
Yeah, still
Pet
is.
peeves
don't
point
worry.
2.
Point 2. Yeah. About phone stuff, I haven't really given it much thought. Doesn't really bother me much. It's never. Yeah, I'm not fussed.
I suppose you're tall though. I've always got the issue. I'm stood at a gig. I've got my spot. I've got a good view. I recently been watching Kill Switch Engage. I was like, I'm staying here. I'm fine. And then just someone holds the phone up in my point of view, and now I'm watching the gig through the phone.
Oh, yeah, that's annoying.
Right.
I've got the
I'll go in
privilege,
the
haven't
pit.
I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, yeah, fuck phones. Get rid of them.
Yeah. All for that.
Hate 'em.
That was a shot.
But I don't want to put my phone in, like, I don't want to have to give it to anyone.
No, I think it's like a Ziploc bag that you keep.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it only unlocks when you go
When you
to
go into a
the
certain zone.
yeah,
into it,
certain
yeah.
zone
Yeah.
outside of the not outside of
And
the venue,
instead
but
of
reception.
and they've done that with photos and that, so obviously people like taking the odd photo or like video or whatever. But with that, he's got his own photographer with him,
Yeah.
and at the end of the night, I'll upload all the photos to the website, so you can go on the Jack White's website or something and download the photos from that show and use them instead of taking your own.
They'll look better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But people like to be precious, don't they? And be like, well,
Yeah.
No
I
one ever
took
looks
this
back
one.
at those photos.
They're like,
If you
photos of
take a photo or a
fireworks.
video of a gig, no one looks back at.
Yeah.
No one's watching your Instagram stories of that gig. Like,
No.
it's pointless. There's no
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
Another thing like that though is, have you guys been to any Sam Smith pubs?
No.
No.
So it's a there's one in Manchester and all that, but they've banned phones basically in the pub, but like it's kind of like it's banned when the owner's around. So the like mad guy who like owns the entire Sam Smith pubs thing.
Right.
If he comes around, everyone's got to be like, hide your phone, he's coming, get kicked out.
Jesus is coming. Look busy.
Yeah.
So he actually kicks you out then if you've got your phone.
Like, some of the pubs have been shut down for people being on their phones.
What?
There.
What?
Fucking stupid.
I mean, I like the idea of have more conversations,
Yeah,
have
I
fun
do.
with one another, but
Not to
I'm not shutting down my
extreme.
business over a
Yeah,
phone.
no, like me and my girlfriend go to the pub to like book holidays and stuff because we can't do anything like we can't get stuff done at home. So we go to the pub and we'll like look at holiday places or
Yeah,
like
nice.
look at houses.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
like that. So yeah, but it's an 80-year-old dude who doesn't understand the culture of people
No.
50 years younger than him.
I've got a gripe about gigs. I went watching John Mayer last month.
Yeah.
And what really pissed me off was that you pay 50 upwards for these tickets, and then as soon as he starts playing, you go, right, I want to get a drink. What do you want? And then there's just like loads of people just fuck off halfway through this set, and then don't come back for like 20 minutes so they can get the drink and stuff like that. So if you've bothered to pay and you want to watch that artist and appreciate their music, why are you going to the bar to listen to it?
When
Get a
they're
drink
playing.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your drink first.
He's not
and
on
then
till like
just
9. He's
enjoy
probably
it.
been there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he even had an interval. He did 2 sets. So he did part 1,
Oh really?
had a break, and then carried on because he had no support.
Oh wow.
So,
You go in the interval.
yeah,
Go get a
exactly.
drink in the interval.
And then there was a guy who was in front of us, who I'm not joking, was on his phone the entire time.
Man,
Like, he looked up once and then carried on just messaging on his phone.
that's so weird, isn't it? But
And did a slight woo when Gravity came on. And then that was it.
was he there on his own? Do you think he was with someone and like he didn't want to be there?
I don't know. Like, the rest of his mates was proper enjoying it. He was just sat there, just
he's
on his
with-
phone.
Maybe he
all night.
maybe he's like driving or something. He's just like he just got
Right,
dragged
but
along.
if you've paid for a ticket to go watch John
Yeah.
Mayer, you're gonna go and enjoy watching that artist.
Yeah,
and not
it's
be
weird,
like,
isn't
oh,
it?
let's look at my phone. Like I look at all the time.
I suppose you can't tell people how to enjoy a gig.
No, true, but still
One of those, isn't it?
grinds my gears.
Jack White's trying, isn't he?
Yeah,
You will enjoy it in this particular way.
he's forcing it.
Yeah.
And afterwards, you'll purchase a vinyl.
Yes.
Brilliant. I think.
Yeah, I think that wraps up everything.
Are you?
Nice, yeah, I
Happy
talked
with
your heads off,
everything
didn't I? Sorry, lads. I haven't spoken to anyone all week. So
Let it all
I think
out.
this is one of the longest podcasts we've done.
it's one of the longest podcasts, I think.
And oh no, Rogan.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, his are
Rogan's
normally about
3
this long,
hours,
aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So it's worth mentioning. Where can everyone find you if they want to check out your work?
My website is bobcooperproducer.com. My Facebook is Bob Cooper Music Producer. My Instagram is Bob Cooper Producer. My Twitter, if you would, for any reason, I don't talk about anything on it. I just retweet things people say about my work, but that's Bob Cooper Produc because I couldn't get the whole thing in.
Product.
I think that's it. I think that's everything.
Did you hear that, Jared Way?
Yeah, so
Get
Jared.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop talking about Umbrella Academy.
Oh, that show was fucking great.
Oh, it was
though.
great.
I loved it. Can't wait for the second season.
Be good. That's right. Talking about right.
Yeah,
Keep doing what you're doing.
Come and do that 5th album with me.
Come on. But yeah, thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Yeah, we
Oh,
appreciate
really appreciate
it.
it.
Thanks for letting me do it.
No, thank you very much.
Right. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
That was episode 20 with Bob Cooper. Hope you enjoyed it.
Massive thank you to everyone who has listened and supported us up to episode 20. It really is appreciated.
And as always, you can get in contact, recommend what guests you'd like to see, or just let us know if you enjoyed an episode on all our socials at An Earful Podcast. And don't forget, a week of every episode that is released, you can also catch it on YouTube now as well. Other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.